Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome into another Sunday night stream. It's so funny that we're sitting here chatting before it starts, and my computer on YouTube was telling me that there was zero people waiting for this. When obviously I knew some of you guys were in here, but some Mooli Parm. I almost made that tonight too, but then we just ate a bunch of leftovers instead. But want to jump right into it. Thank you guys for coming today. No, got the holiday tomorrow. Hope you guys all stay safe with everything going on, but still yet get to enjoy the Memorial Day tomorrow. Maybe barbecue a little bit, depending on where you are, how the weather's going to be tomorrow. But want to get right into it, and wanted to go into something that me and Dark Demonic were actually talking about earlier today, and that's Jason from Over the Cap. I released a video today on my quarterback rankings, and Jason from Over the Cap was doing like a little Q&A yesterday about taking a lot of, hey, Andrew, how's it going? Taking a lot of questions about the Jets in particular. And Sam Darnold kept coming up quite a bit. And he was talking about how the Jets should be looking to draft a quarterback next year and how he's not very high on Darnold pretty much, and how, Steven just bashing Darnold. And it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely it's lazy. It's a really bad viewpoint. It's just unbelievable. I mean, the guy is great. His website is great for Over the Cap, but that's what he is. He's a cap guru, and I mean, his take on Darnold is just flat out lazy, and that's all it is. I mean, he was just saying stuff that just makes no sense at all. He's comparing Darnold to Sanchez and how people were complaining how Sanchez didn't have a supporting cast. Are you kidding me? Sanchez had one of the best offensive lines in football. I mean, yes, when he was a rookie, he had a very good supporting cast. And then the wide receivers kind of started to trickle away, and then he lost a lot of weapons to throw to. And I will admit that we didn't do a lot to help Sanchez continue to succeed because we let all of his receiving targets go. But the major difference between Sanchez and Darnold is you can easily tell how much Darnold can make a player better. Sanchez needed that supporting cast around him. It's not a knock on Sanchez. I think he was a good player for us when he was there. He was just never going to be that elite quarterback that was going to push us over the edge, which I think Sam Darnold can be. But, I mean, to try to compare those two is just not even close. It's not close at all. Sanchez's his first two seasons, he had one of the best offensive lines in football. He had Braylon Edwards, Holmes, Cotry. Like, it's not close. I mean, that was just so lazy of him to compare those. And then what else was he talking about too? He was saying how Sam only had the week schedule. You guys know how I feel about the week schedule. He was playing with offensive linemen that are probably not even going to make the team. And there's a reason that only one of those guys has a chance of even starting this year. Out of the 5, we had 10 or 11 different starting offensive line combinations in only 16 games. You have to factor these things in. You can't just say, well, I heard the clip when he said he's seeing ghosts. He's no good. How can you see ghosts in the NFL? He's no good. But then if you look at, and if you guys watch my video, I quoted, I'll try to pull it up here on Twitter. Oh, so as I'm pulling it up, if you guys haven't heard any of my videos, I did start a Twitter page for the channel. So if you guys have Twitter, please go ahead and follow me at NYSportsMC on Twitter. Just again, at NYSportsMC. So here it was. Pat Thorman said over his last 8 games, Sam Darnold was top 12 in yards per attempt, touchdowns, touchdown interception percentage, PFF quarterback rating, and he was PFF's 8th graded passer, despite being pressured at the highest rate, 41.9. When kept clean, he ranked 1st in accuracy and 4th in passer rating. So when he had a clean pocket, 1st in accuracy and 4th in passer rating. So if you want to sit there and talk about how you don't think Sam Darnold could be the future and you don't think he could be a franchise quarterback, look at that. he had an atrocious offensive line. He did still have Robbie and Crowder, but other than that, those guys were no-namers. And he's still out there producing and performing. So I don't care that he was playing lesser competition, teams that weren't necessarily the greatest. He was playing with subpar talent around him. So if you can't look at that and say that this guy's got talent, I mean, it's unbelievable. Sanchez, no Twitter. Sorry, dude. Sorry, Steven. Yeah, I never had one either until no Facebook, no Snapchat. Yeah, Steven, that's the same thing with me. I only ever had LinkedIn for work. But I created all these other ones now. Well, not actually, I only created the Twitter. That's all I have. I just did it for the channel. A bunch of people tell me that it may help the channel to grow. So wanted to make it. We'll see if it helps it grow or not. But I'm trying to, like I said, I just want it to grow so that we can have more people in here interacting, because that's what I really have fun with. Like I said, I'm not in it for eventually getting super chats and all that stuff. I mean, if it comes and I can get it, great. But I really just want to interact with fans and have a good time. It's a way for me to kind of decompress at the end of the day, at the end of the week, or before the start of the week, really. I'm doing them here on Sunday nights now. So I just really enjoy it. JT Games, how's it going? Andrew, no Twitter here. Yeah, a bunch of people don't have it. Just Instagram. I don't think I'll get on any of the other ones. I'm just not a big fan of all the social medias. There's just too much. Sometimes it feels like you're back in high school. So I just stay away from that. Too much drama, too much other stuff. But yeah, I really wanted to start out with that. I mean, Darnold, I think, is by far and away the best quarterback in this division. If you say otherwise, you're just really doing it from a very uneducated or biased standpoint. And you guys know already, the people that have been following my channel, I'm as honest as it comes. I try not to, everybody's going to have a little homerism. Obviously, you root for a specific team. And even if it's not homerism, it's just, like, I'm a fan. I don't claim to be an expert, but I know more about the Jets players. So maybe sometimes if it's splitting hairs, I'm going to lean more towards the Jets guys just because I know them. But you guys know, I mean, we did the offensive line and put us at third, right? So it's like, I'm not going to just put us number one because it's the Jets. I just think it's so easy to see that Allen has so much accuracy issues. I'm not going to put a rookie quarterback number one, and I'm not going to put a fourth-round quarterback that has been a backup for a few years either. So I think it's pretty easy to say that. I know that's been a kind of a debate going around a lot. I know Greeny had that on his morning show. I forget the name of it now. I miss Mike and Mike. I don't want to know the new name anymore. But he got up and walked away when they said that Darnold wasn't number one. He said it's the easiest question there is. I can tell you one thing, though, and I've said it for years. We will never get to a Super Bowl as long as the name is still alive. He jinxes no way around it. Steven, my uncle, who was a season ticket holder for a very, very long time. I used to go to at least one game a year with him. Then he gave him up when they changed a new stadium because the PSL is just ridiculous. You got to spend a few $1,000s just for the rights to buy season tickets. He's like, no way, and then it pushed out a lot of the middle class people because they just can't afford to do that, right? Like my uncle was the elevator mechanic, right, for 30 some odd 40 years, however long he did it. He doesn't have a few $1,000s to drop just for the rights to buy season tickets. And then also, like, we love to tailgate, and over the years, the tailgating was we used to go early. So I don't know how many times you guys went and tailgated early, but if you went early enough, you wouldn't have to pay for parking. You get in before they even put people in the booths. So then they started making people come earlier and earlier and earlier. So we started going earlier. And then all of a sudden with the season tickets, they just put it in there. You had to pay for your parking pass with your season tickets so that it didn't matter how early or how late you came, you're paying for parking. So all that but he swears by that, Steven. He's told me since I was a kid, whenever I would get really excited about a season or excited the way the season was going, he'd say, well, is Joe Namath still alive? He goes, that's all you need to know. He used to tell me that all the time, Steven. So I kind of agree. And I've told my brother this. I told a few people this. I said, and I'm not rooting for him to pass away, right? But eventually we all will. So I've been saying, like, when he does eventually pass, I said, if we have a halfway decent team, I may put I may put a nice sizable bet on the Jets, but I'm worried about Jamal Adams leaving. What are your thoughts? So my thoughts about Jamal Adams is hold on tight because you're going to hear all these rumors up until either A, he signs his new contract, or B, he's traded, right? So you're going to hear all these rumors. One day you hear that he's pissed off at the Jets and that he doesn't want to he just wants to be traded. The next day you hear that there's no animosity between them. So the way I'm looking at it, JT, is I'm just going to wait, man. I'm not going to sit here and keep getting high or low on everything I hear. I think that Jamal has to be realistic. And I did put a video on it, JT, if you want to check it out. But I think Jamal has to be realistic and see that it's very rare that somebody will get the deal with after their third year. He still has 2 more years under contract. So the Jets have a they have all the leverage in this, right? Because at the end of the day, if Jamal's going to hold out, can he really hold out for 2 straight years? Because he's under contract for 2 more. And then if he really held out and didn't play for 2 years, you think he's going to get the money that he wants? No. Nobody's going to pay him. Then it doesn't matter how good you were. If you sit out 2 years, you're not going to get more money, right? And that's why, like, even the Devontae Freeman thing, he's going to sit out a year. No, he's not. He may sit out at the beginning of camp. He may sit out the first few weeks until somebody gets hurt. But he's not going to sit out a year and get paid more than what he's getting offered right now. It's just not going to happen. That doesn't happen in the league. So with Jamal, I want him here. I want him to be realistic, though, and realize that he has to wait until after his upcoming year. I think they're willing to pay him the money from all accounts and everything Joe Douglas has said. But Joe's looking to build the team, and that's what it is. No one player is bigger than the team. And that's the way I look at it, JT, is that we have to build this team. So I want him to be here. I want him to be part of it, but not above the team. Super Bowl III was fixed anyway. They needed an AFL team to win because they were merging. Well, I always – so I don't say it was fixed, Steven, but I always like when some of my buddies who are not Jets fans, they want to bash us for not winning a Super Bowl since Super Bowl III. I say, well, we are the reason the NFL is the way it is because we won that Super Bowl, and that's what helped the merger. So if we didn't win, maybe the NFL would have never merged into what it is today. But that's just my rebuttal. What's up, man? Loving the positional ranking so far. Thanks, Lights. I really appreciate it. I'm going to wait a little bit longer, see if we get some more people in here. And I'm going to kind of do that. I'm going to let you guys pick one position group, and then I'm going to pick another one. I'll come out with 2 videos in the week. And then on these Sunday chats, we can kind of recap them a little bit, like I just went through the quarterbacks, and then just whatever else comes up in the chat. But I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to think of something to do right now, right? There's not a lot of news breaking, so I figure why not rank the division here. I'm worried about signing a kicker who can hit a field goal. That cost us the playoffs last year. Yeah, Andrew. So I think you've mentioned the kicker quite a bit. You're very worried about the kicker. I remember you mentioning it in a few other streams, I think. I don't see them changing anything with the kicking position until at least training camp starts. We have 2 guys on the roster. You're not going to have 3 on your 90-man roster. That's just taking up spots for other positions. Maher has shown signs. He played really well against us. He hit like a 60-yarder and then like a deep 50-yarder when we played the Cowboys this year, and then he fell apart and ended up getting cut. But I think Maher would be number 1 right now with Ficken right behind him. But I can see if Ficken struggles, they'll boot him and then bring in another guy for competition. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. But there's not going to be any kicker news anytime soon. Sorry, Andrew. I got to buy Bubba Smith's book. He said Earl Morrow got paid to take a dive. Oh, I did not hear that. I mean, it could be. There was a lot of corruption in sports back then, so I would not be surprised. That could even still be some now. Who knows? But so on to the offensive line. Because like I said, I wanted to recap them again, see if it gets the chat going, see if we can kind of debate it back and forth. I was a little surprised. Like I said, offensive line, I'm trying to see if I can find my notes from the video I made here. But offensive line is one where it's, if you're not a scout, which I'm not, right? I'm just a fan. I mean, I played football in college, but that's about it. It's hard to evaluate, right? So I really looked at Pro Football Focus. I looked at the penalties. I looked at the sacks that they gave up. And I know everybody said how the Bills line really improved quite a bit last year. But I was when I looked at the numbers, I mean, at least for Pro Football Focus numbers, they were not that impressive. I think what made him look a little better is that Allen can improvise and he can run and make what would be a negative play positive. So that can help to make your line seem better. You're getting more yards, you're getting more rushing yards. But if we want to go position for position, I mean, left guard, Alex Lewis actually graded out better than Quinton Spain. Committed more penalties and gave up more sacks, but McGovern was better than Mitch Morris, and I think he is better than Mitch Morris. Greg Van Roten and John Feliciano were about a wash, but Feliciano a little more penalties, a little more sacks. And then Fent, who was playing tight end, third tackle pretty much, had a better rating than Cody Ford, but obviously didn't play nearly as many snaps as Cody Ford did. So he's going to be the big question mark on this offensive line because playing now a full season, he's going to potentially be exposed. I do like some of his upside. Like I said, he had a really good game against Nick Bosa, which obviously Bosa was a rookie, but Bosa did play very well last year. So it'll just be interesting to see how he plays. But I think we have the best I think we will have, not this upcoming season, though, but maybe by next season, I think Mekhi Becton's going to be the best tackle in the division, without a doubt. So we can shoot up the ranks here. But, man, when I was looking at that Dolphins offensive line, I would not play Tua. I mean, like I said, I looked at ESPN, so I don't know if maybe they got some other guys that would start over some of these people. But Austin Jackson, I was not very high on. Eric Flowers, I mean, a bust at tackle. He played played serviceable at guard, but he's not anything to write home about. Ted Karras, Shaq Calhoun, and then Robert Hunt, I was very high on. I think he could be the best player on their offensive line. But I don't know, like I said, a right tackle, he might be fine. Definitely wouldn't put him at left tackle. But he'll probably bump into guard at some point in his career. But, man, they should put Fitzpatrick back there. They should really let Tua redshirt this year, let him get fully back healthy again, and then spend every asset you have on fixing that offensive line. And Shula soaked the field in the 1982 playoff game because he hated the Jets because he lost in Super Bowl III. Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they did some crazy things. And then, like I said, I know somebody had commented saying that I didn't even realize this. Maybe I forgot it, but the Patriots offensive line coach is no longer there, and he said, hey, he was the reason that they were so successful. But I mean, you got to put them number one. With Isaiah Wynn back healthy, maybe for the full season, Joe Thuney, David Andrews back from the blood clots, Shaq Mason, and then Marcus Cannon. I mean, they got the best five. They're all returning. They've all played with each other before. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. But the teams, again, though, they can take a step back because now you got Jared Stidham at quarterback, or maybe even can't think of his name right now. The veteran Hoyer. There you go. Hoyer starting. So they're not Brady, and Brady is notorious for getting the ball out very quickly, even though there are times where he used to sit back there and have a picnic because that line was so good. But it'll be interesting. I want to see what do you guys think the next position group we should do? Let me know. What do you think about the wide receiver division rankings? JT, that'll probably be the next video I come out with. I think that – so I'd have to look because we're either 3 or 4 at wide receiver. Yeah, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. So the Bills have Diggs, Brown, Beasley. I think the Patriots would be number 4. Because, I mean, they have Edelman, who might be one of the best wide receivers in the division. But then who else do they have? Let me see. Patriots. Projected depth chart. So the Patriots have – they got Mohamed Sanu. Forgot they had him. They picked up Marquise Lee. Then they have N'Keal Harry, who, he was hurt last year and then came in, didn't really do much. And then you get the Dolphins. They have wow, why can't I think of his name now? He was just fighting with Michael Thomas on Twitter the other day. They got into a nice little back and forth. Devontae Parker. Yep, Parker. Preston Williams, Albert Wilson. So I'd actually probably have. I'm going to do more research. So this rankings I give you right now might not be the rankings that I do on my video whenever I get to the wide receiver group. But if I had to do it right now off the top of my head, I would actually go Bills 1. I think that's kind of easy. It's tough because I'm not a huge fan of any of the other three. Bills would be 1 kind of just by default. And then, those next 3 are going to be tight. I guess you have to put even though I was just saying the Pats might be a word, I guess you'd have to put the Pats second just because Julian Edelman's by far the best out of the rest of those people. Demonic's saying that they have the worst wide receivers. They probably do, but I mean, Sanu's not half bad. So Demonic, I would love to know how you'd rank them. Like I said, I gotta have the Bills first, but then it would mean that you have the Dolphins second. I mean, I know Parker had a pretty big year and he's a pretty good player, but I don't really like anybody else that they have there at the position. That's what I said. It's tough. They all of us really have like one, wide receiver that's halfway decent. And Preston Williams, Jakeem Grant, Albert Wilson. I mean, it's a push, man. It's a push. I'd almost have us number 2. And that's like not even – I think potential-wise you put us number 2 for sure. Because if Perryman plays the way – or halfway to what he played towards the end of that year, Mims comes in and plays the way we think. And then Crowder is probably the best complimentary wide receiver in there because if you're going to say that Edelman's just going to be their number 1 target, even though he does play in the slot as well. No one has a true number 1 wide receiver expected. Parker. Dolphins for Jets 3 could be 2, depends on Mims. And Bills 1. So then you got Dolphins. So you have Pats 2. Yeah, because if you look at Pats versus the Jets, I guess it would be Pats versus Jets for me for number 2. Because while Parker is probably the best true number 1, like Demonic said, in the whole division, I would even say, the rest of that team is just – the rest of those wide receivers just leave a lot to be desired. So if you look at Pats versus Jets, Edelman's got to be the best receiver out of the 2. But then you're looking at Mims versus Sanu. I'd give the edge to us there, even though I know. And then you're looking at Crowder versus who would their third receiver be? Versus N'Keal Harry. And I'd give us Crowder too. So that's what I said. I think I would put us number 2. So that was how it would be right now. Bills, Jets, Patriots, Dolphins. Mims might be a number 2 guy coming into his rookie year. I'm really curious about Doxson. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Doxson can do. I mean, obviously he had potential. He was picked in the first round for a reason. It'll be real interesting if we get Paul Richardson. I know a lot of Jets fans have kind of said let's bring in another receiver, and Paul Richardson is the name that came up. We would then have 3 people that play wide receiver for the Redskins, just like we have all these corners from the Colts. So it's like interesting. Perryman is going to be playing every snap. Gase loves him. He said he's perfect for a system. Yeah, and like I said, I think Perryman now, again, if you look at his last 6 games or whatever it was, 6 or 8, however long that stretch was, to say that that's what he's going to do like the whole season would be unbelievable. It's not going to be that spectacular, but I think it's closer to what he is than what the beginning of his career was. So he had a lot of injuries. He actually admits that he kind of went through a funk where he was kind of down and doubting himself. And then I forgot what he said, but something happened where he got with somebody and started working and really started to build up back up his confidence. It's tough. He was drafted high. He was not expected to be drafted that high, so kind of like that combine helped rise him up. And then he got injured, and then he got injured again, and had a few bad drops, and it kind of snowballed for him. But I think now he got the confidence back. He showed that he can catch. He made a few very nice catches towards the end of that year. He also helped my fantasy team win the championship because I picked him up. My wide receiver crew was lacking desperately. But, yeah, I can see Perryman playing pretty well this year. But then it'll probably parlay him to a big deal, which who knows if he'll stay with us or then go somewhere else. This year is going to be interesting. I really like what we're doing. Yeah, I do too, JT. I think that Joe Douglas has done a great job. So he came over very, very highly touted. Everybody was saying that he was the rising star, the next up-and-coming front office. And, usually we don't get too lucky with these things, but we got him over here. He brought in some well-respected guys behind him to help him, which was a very smart decision. And everything he's done so far, I've agreed with. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt until he does something to prove me wrong. But I'm very excited about the direction here. Some Ravens players also. Yeah. It's like the positions, though, Steven, is what I'm talking about. Like, so 3 corners from the Colts. If we got Richardson, that'd be 3 receivers from the Redskins. We have 2 linebackers from the Ravens. So, yeah, once we get a player from that team, watch out for the rest of the position group. Yeah, he sounds like a Jets fan. Yeah, 2 spots the Jets did not address on draft or the offseason is kicker. That might come back to haunt the Jets, but at least they got themselves a stud punter in man. Yeah, no, I know. And like I said, I was putting Blankenship in a lot of my mocks, and then the more and more I was thinking about it, like I said, I wish they would have drafted him, but they already had 2. I don't know. I guess they have faith in Maher. I mean, like I said, when we played the Cowboys, Maher played well, so maybe that's kind of what's stuck in their head right now, that game against us, and they're really like excited about that. I'm not sure. He may very well, Steven, he could very well shank his first punt. Sam Darnold threw a touchdown to the wrong team in his first pass, so he could very well shank it. But I'd also laugh my ass off if we were backed up on our own 1 and he punts it like 90 yards. But other spot would be cornerback. As much as I like Hall, they still don't have a shutdown cornerback on this roster. Need to help Greg Williams' defense. Yeah, we got to only hope that Hall can develop into that type of player. I mean, I think they're going to hope to put him kind of on that same trajectory as Blesson Austin was last year, where they don't have to play him early and let him kind of redshirt for as long as they can, so that because he's had the injury and he's coming back. So I think the idea would be, and the hope would be, that they don't bring him back. So I know there was all the rumors about us hopefully bringing in Logan Ryan. Now it's come out that, and I'm all for it, man. I was for the Logan Ryan signing, but I'm also for the fact that Joe Douglas is sticking to his guns and not going to pay him $10 million a year, because I don't think that that's necessary. I think that would be an overpay for sure. So I just love that, though, because we've had, and the big flashy signings they're fun in the moment, but we've had GMs that will just go out and spend big money and overpay, and then you hear, well, like the Le'Veon Bell, well, the Jets kind of bid up themselves. It's like, but no, now it's like Joe's like, look, this is your price, and if you want to play for the Jets, you're going to play for this price, and if not, we'll go get somebody else. So I really, really like that about him. Lachlan was a great punter. I wouldn't say great, Andrew. I would say he was a good punter, but he wasn't great. I mean, that's why they let him walk. I would be a little surprised, though, if he didn't get a position somewhere else. I think that he is at least worthy of a spot on a team. I'm sure somebody will pick him up to compete, and then maybe he can win a job. But Lachlan was a decent punter for us. He'd have some shank punts, and he'd have some times where he just did not look very good. But we'll see. I ain't got no problem with Lachlan Edwards, so hopefully he can latch on somewhere else because we built the roster up, but we haven't played yet. That's why we're being doubted. Yeah. Logan Ryan thinks he's worth $10 million. Yeah, I know. Apparently, he didn't even want $10 million in the beginning of the offseason. Now, all of a sudden, after a draft, he wants more money, and after the fact that nobody signed him, I just don't understand. These players nowadays are just it's so funny. Like, so with Logan Ryan wanting $10 million and Jamal like, I want my money now, right? During this whole time, you hear a story come out from Curtis Martin on how when he won the rushing title, he had a torn MCL, and doctors were telling him not to play. And he went and called Bill Parcells back and said, Bill, what do I do? And Parcells told him, he goes, hey, it's your body. You should always take care of your body because you don't know how it's going to affect you later in life. But again, Boy Wonder, he used to call him. He goes, but Boy Wonder, you come out of that huddle, you don't know who's going in there. And Curtis Martin said he remembered that he told him that when he was a rookie as well. And he said that's why he didn't come out. And that was the mentality that they used to have. Like, if you come out, somebody's going to take your spot. And that made them hungry. And it also is like, for that very same reason is why they wouldn't ask for money when they still got 2 years left on their deal, because it's like they'll just replace you. Like, that's how they felt back then. Like, I could easily be replaced. These players now feel entitled. And it's just ridiculous. Like, I understand, and I love Jamal, and I want him to be here forever. And if Jamal were to ever watch my video, I don't want him to ever take this as disrespect. But it's like, look, we need to build this team. So we need you to stay on this deal for one more year, and then they'll give you the deal. Like, I don't know if they could agree to this or not, if they can, like, sign him to the extension, but it doesn't start until after this year. So it's like, hey, look, we're guaranteeing you that money, but you got to put in a lower deal now because it's all about working the cap and having that flexibility in there. So they can't just keep – because now if they pay him early, then what's that to say the next guy down the line is not going to want his money earlier? And then the next guy and the next guy. Now you set a precedent. You can't do that. Let's see what else we got going here. Players with bad agents remain unsigned. Spending money on an edge rusher. Clowney being unsigned is insane. He needs to fire his agent. Yeah, well, Demonic, I don't know the ins and outs of his relationship with his agent. I don't even know who his agent is. But it's like, who's the sticking point in that money? Is it Clowney telling his agent, hey, I want that money and I'm not settling for less? Or is his agent who wants a bigger cut and saying, hey, you deserve this money, you shouldn't settle for less? So I don't know. I don't want Clowney for anywhere near what he wants. Clowney is an elite run defender, very below average, always edge rusher. I mean, he gets pressure on the quarterback, and he usually leads the league in, like, the pressures, but we need somebody that can get out there and get sacks. And if he couldn't get 10 sacks with J.J. Watt and Merciless and the boys over there, and then goes to Seattle and gets, 3.5, 4.5 sacks, what do you think he's going to do here? The same, 3.5, 4.5 sacks. No, thank you. I'm not spending that kind of money for that kind of production. We don't need the run support. We had the number 2 rush defense in the league last year without him. And that was without C.J. Mosley, without Avery Williamson. So our run defense is going to be fine. Because every year with free agency, the draft, every team is getting 10-plus new players every year. Jamal Adams, like you said, on Discord has no ground to stand on. Yeah, there is none. Because like I said, you can't sit out for 2 years. So what is he going to do? You got to play. You got to play. Because I would call his bluff. I really would. If he's like, I'm not going to play without a deal or trade me, I call his bluff. Sit out for 2 years. Sit out for 2 years. I know it's kind of spiteful to us, right, to ourselves, because if we trade him, we could get something that can help make the team better. But it's like, he's not going to sit out. He's not going to sit out. Exactly. Demonic, like, he wants the money. If you sit out, people are not going to pay you more if you sat out. It's not going to happen. Maybe Douglas is waiting until June 1 when more money is free. He could. I don't think he is with Jamal. I think he's really trying to wait until after this upcoming year. It doesn't pay. It doesn't make sense. When you start paying these rookies as soon as they become eligible, you're going to get in trouble. And the thing is, again, I'm going to watch how I word this because Maccagnan did not draft well at all. But when you hit on a pick, that's a better term for Mike Maccagnan's draft because he very rarely hit on anybody. But when you hit on a pick, that's the advantage of it, that you get them when they're on their rookie deal on a cheap. And I just saw a tweet. I wish I remember who it was from earlier today that said Aaron Donald and was it Khalil Mack? I think both of them won Defensive Player of the Year for the league on their rookie deals and didn't get their deal until after year 4. So it's like, how do you expect? I know he's elite. I know he's probably the best safety in the league, but you didn't win no Defensive Player of the Year. Why do you expect to get your deal sooner than they did? Like, I just think it would set a bad precedent if half the players produce this year that Joe Douglas drafted here already is better than Idzik and Maccagnan. Yeah. That's going to be huge. The thing is, it's going to be drafting. If he hits on some of these people, we're going to be in a good spot. And that's what you have to do. You have to hit on some of these. You cannot just get the top guy and then everybody else is no good. I mean, when was the last – Marcus May is the only productive person outside of the first round. Wait, there's one I'm missing. Jenkins. There's somebody else I'm missing. I mean, Quincy would have been if he didn't keep getting hurt. Steven, you sure you don't know my uncle? You guys say a lot of the same things. So a little different. My uncle said balls said the queen. If she had him, then she'd be king. So very similar saying right there. You have to hit on every pick, and unsigned free agents is important as well. I mean, I wouldn't say every pick, Demonic. That's tough. But that's why, like, well, I'm half a tank. Well, there you go. I think the thing is, if you look at some of the better teams, like look at what Bill Belichick does. He always has a lot of draft picks. So it's not that you have to hit on every picks, but if you trading and getting good value, you get extra picks, right? Like we always complain about Maccagnan was that he would trade back but accumulate no value. Like look at what Joe Douglas did this year. He trades back from 48 to 59, accumulates another pick, and then flips that into 2 more picks and a pick next year. And then with those 2 picks, he gets he got Morgan and was it Clark, I believe, were the 2 free picks he got. So, yeah, I know a lot of people said, hey, they don't like the Morgan pick. But those same people that don't like the Morgan pick, probably – I know, Demonic, you're not one of them. But those same people that are upset with the Morgan pick probably wanted Mims at 48. So if we took Mims at 48, you would have never picked Morgan anyway. So he traded back 11 spots, got Mims, and picked up a free pick. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, we could have got a wide receiver out of it or something like that, or another edge rusher maybe or something. But, hey, I'm not going to be mad at it. It was an extra pick. We need a backup, and best case scenario, we can flip him for a pick later on. I mean, since that you need players on every pick you make that can produce on the field or fill. Oh, yeah, of course. You don't want Ja'Kai Polites, right, that get drafted in the 3rd round and don't even make the team. Not guys that would be out of the NFL in the first 2 to 3 years like Christian Hackenberg. Christian Hackenberg was just like a weird one because I didn't do a lot of research back then because I wasn't on YouTube and I kind of just read some mock drafts and different things like that. I kind of sold myself on that a little bit, that he was such a high guy coming out of high school. He played well his rookie year. I sold on the fact that Hackenberg lost his head coach to the NFL. Was it O'Brien, I think it was? Or somebody, I forget now. And I was like, man, maybe that's what it was. Because then you read reports that the new coach changed up his footwork and made him put the opposite foot forward. I was like, maybe that kind of threw him for a loop. Maybe he's just not getting coached right. So I kind of sold myself on Hackenberg being a good pick until I saw that he never even played in a snap. But Golston was another bad one. But that's the thing. You need you guys to be role players. Like even like special teamers, right? They can be good special teamers. So That's why I was really happy with the man pick. I mean, you got an immediate starter in the 6th round. How many teams are going to say that? An immediate starter in the 6th round. Yeah, he's a punter, but he's still a starter that's going to impact the game. The worst pick in NFL history. It probably. I mean, when has a player ever been drafted that highly that didn't even make the team? Like, didn't even make it out of training camp. That is unbelievable. And then got cut off a bunch of practice squads too. Like, it's not even like, oh, the new regime was just so pissed off that they picked him and didn't like his attitude that they just got rid of him. He went around to a few different teams as well. I feel like Douglas did more background search on the players than Maccagnan did. Just a better overall eye for talent. Yeah, I mean, he was a collegiate player himself. He came up through the scouting ranks, which, I mean, Maccagnan did as well. I was surprised. So my buddy, I mentioned him on one of my other videos. He's from Houston. He lives there in Houston. He's a Texans fan, and that's where we got Maccagnan from. And he was very upset that we got Maccagnan, and because he wanted Maccagnan to stay there. He liked him, and he pumped me up. He said this guy was going to be great. So I was on board at first, and then it just, like I said, it just wasn't working. He's missing on everybody. Hackenberg was soft mentally from all the beatings he took at PSU, and I've seen all of them. I hated the day we picked him. I knew he was never going to play. At least Morgan has a chance to play. Yeah, I don't know why my nose is so itchy today. Sorry, guys. I keep rubbing my face, but yeah, Morgan, like I said, a lot of people were high on Morgan. I mean, there was the rumors that the Patriots wanted him, right? And he was one of those risers. They were saying, and that they were saying he was one of those mid-round guys that could be. I don't think Fromm's going to be any good, and the guys. But there's a chance that he can develop into one of those guys that ends up getting traded. If he plays out well in a few preseason games, some guys some team may want to take a chance on him. We were on board. Then he got executive of the year, and we bought in like this. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. You want to believe that they're doing the right thing, that they're bringing the right people in, but then you got to just, like I said, you got to just take it, and you got to just look at it, and you got to. Like I said, I always try to just look at everything, from the perspective. I don't try to read too much into what the media says. And that's why, like I said, and I think Demonic finally knows. I always say Demonic a lot because we're in a Discord together, so we're talking a lot. But we've had chats about this, and Demonic hates him, and I'm more open to seeing what he'll do this year. Is Adam Gase, right? I was not a huge fan of the hire at first. I wanted what's that guy's name now? He was the offensive coordinator, Tom Monken, the offensive coordinator of Buccaneers that then went somewhere else. I wanted Monken. I really liked what he did with the offense over there. That was who I was rooting for at that time. But the thing is, what I looked at was, I remembered early on when he took over for the Dolphins that they started out the year relatively well, 2-0 or 3-1 or 4-1, something like that. And then I think Pouncey went down, somebody else went down, and then Tannehill went down. They lost like 2 or 3 offensive linemen, and Tannehill went down. Because before that, I was like, man, these Dolphins might be finally turning around. Maybe this coach is something. And then he destroyed us that one game with Raheem Grant and Wilson, 2 speedy, small guys, and they were just all over the place, and we couldn't stop them. And then, like I said, and it's not excuses. It's looking at it realistically. They dealt with a lot of injuries. Tannehill played half the games when he was with Gase, right? So he was hurt quite a bit. And then you look at last year, and what I tell people whenever I talk about Gase, I say, look, so I wanted Monken, right? And so some people wanted McCarthy. Some people wanted Matt Rule, right? But it's like, if any of those coaches got hired, how much better do you think they would have done? We were devastated by injuries last year. Started 10 or 11 different offensive line combinations. we're down to our sixth or seventh inside linebacker at one point in the year. Had corners that I didn't, we haven't even heard of before the year playing. And we still won 7 games. Yeah, you can say, oh, easier schedule. But it's like, how is any game easy when you're playing with that deficient of talent and people that, not even that they were that deficient in talent, those guys, some of those guys weren't even on the team in training camp. So these guys are getting thrown in the fire, just getting called up from the practice squad, getting brought into the practice squad, and then getting called up very quickly after that. So it's very hard to sit there and try to evaluate anything when that goes on. We wouldn't have Douglas if anybody but Gase was here. Yeah, that could be true, Stephen, because I know that connection definitely played a part and helped. That could very well be true, and that could be the biggest gift that Gase gives us. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully, like I said, my hope is that Gase is the coach here for the next decade or two, right? That means he's doing something right. I mean, I don't care who it is. I just want to see the team successful. JT, I think we can. I think we can make the playoffs this year. I don't want to hear about the harder schedule. Daily of the Month Club. It's just with the schedule and how it's going, like I said, and I spoke about this quite a bit. The Bills, like everybody's putting the Bills as they're going to win the division and they're going to make a deep playoff run. We had them against the ropes in week 1 last year until Mosley goes down. And I don't know how many of you guys have ever dealt with mono. I have. I was in high school though, right? I was younger. I don't know if I would have been getting as old as Darnold was, but you get exhausted quick. I remember when I first found out I had it. I was actually at work and I was so exhausted. I was holding onto the counter to keep myself upright. So imagine what he was going through in that second half, trying to continue to play. And he didn't even know what he had. You don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, you just get just sapped of all your energy, and it's unbelievable. So, and we got better as well. So, I think that we're right there with them. I really do. The biggest thing for us is going to be how quickly can we get this team together and how quickly can we get this offensive line to become a cohesive unit. That is going to be the biggest task. I think the most important coach this year is Frank Pollock. That is the most important coach on the whole staff this year is Pollock. He has to get those boys meshing, gelling as quickly as possible. And if he can, we're going to be trouble. Because the thing is, if you look at it, right, we had a top 10 DVOA defense last year. We had the number 2 rushing defense last year. We had atrocious corners. I still don't think that they're very good, but they're much better than last year. You bring back an all-pro inside linebacker in C.J. Mosley. You bring back a Pro Bowler, or at least Pro Bowl caliber. I don't know if he actually ever got it. I think he's one of the most underrated inside linebackers. And Avery Williamson, I'm counting him as being on this team because I think they can keep him. You add those guys back to this defense. You get a healthy Quinnen Williams back on this defense. You get these other guys like Foley Fatukasi, Nathan Shepard, Phillips. You get all these other guys who are young to continue to improve. And now you can have an offensive line that should be competent, right? So you had a top 10 defense. You add all those pieces to it. Plus you put an offense that should be able to hold the ball longer to keep them fresh. This should be a top 5 defense. I don't care what offenses we're playing. This should be a top 5 defense in the league. And I think it will be. And then when you have a top 5 defense in the league, even if we remain top 10 with a middle of the pack offense, because I think that needs to be our floor this year, is at least middle of the pack. That's a playoff team. It's a playoff team. No questions about it. Let me just catch up on some comments. Yeah, I think I had that at 15. Mono does suck. You can't even lift your – yeah, it's unbelievable. It's an adrenaline fighting, tiredness. Hello. People forgot game 1 we had Buffalo. Yeah, that's what I was just saying, motivated. I was just mentioning that. Mosley got hurt. All was lost. Star players went down, and that was it. Mosley is the coach in the middle of the huddle, not Jamal. I'm going and say Mosley is a true defensive leader. Yeah, that's without a doubt, Demonic. And I think it's just too because I think Mosley keeps his composure more. I think the thing with Jamal is that he is so fiery and so his personality is so loud that it's very good to have on the team. It helps motivate other people on the team. But when you want the true quarterback of the team, you need that guy who's composed. You need that guy who doesn't talk, just lets his actions speak. And also, you need that linebacker to be that person because he's right there. He's in the middle of everything, right? And I know Jamal is too. He's always roaming around the line of scrimmage too. But then that middle linebacker who could go over there and tap Fatukasi or anybody up there and tell him to move over, get him in the right spot. Also look back at the safeties, right? So he's got to be that vocal leader in there. And, I mean, that's one of the things, too, that was just very impressive about that defense last year. I mean, you had Copeland, an outside linebacker, starting at inside linebacker and making those calls last year. That's not good, right? That's nothing against Copeland. That's just not his position. That's not what he's meant to do. So this defense is going to be much improved than they were top 10 last year. What's up, bro? Hey, Joe, how's it going? Thanks for popping in. Andrew, what's with the Devontae Freeman rumors? I don't think he's going to come here. Devontae Freeman wants more money than what I would give him. I think he should have took the deal in Seattle, $4.5 million or something like that. They wanted to give him. He apparently wants to sit out for whatever he feels he's worth. Go ahead. He's going to have to hope that somebody gets hurt. That's the only way he's going to get more than what he got offered by Seattle. If he sits out the year like he's threatening, he's only going to get offered less next year. So that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, no more running. I think we're fine with running backs. I think we are. I mean, you got Gore, you got Bell, and you got Pirine. I don't think that they're going to bring anybody else. The motions get the best of him. Yeah, Jamal. I think that's what you're talking about, Jamal. That was about when we were talking about that. Yeah, so you can't have the leader doing that. Plus, if he's going to be like out on the edge potentially sometimes, coming off the edge, blitzing, things like that, you want that leader and that quarterback to be the guy that's in the middle, that's always in the middle of the field, right? He's in the middle. He's always there because then he can control everything. And Mosley's very smart as well. So people counting us out without knowing what our line is, you're right. Pollock does his thing. The team is completely different. Yeah. And that's what I said. That's the most important. And I heard, like, if you guys don't know already, I'm originally from New York, New Jersey, but I do live down in Florida now. We've been open for a little bit. But I just heard New York, Cuomo just said that the sports teams can come back to practicing, which is great for baseball and basketball, but not really doesn't really help us because, well, we play in New Jersey. So unless they plan on going back out to Hofstra to practice out there, we're going to have to wait for New Jersey. So New Jersey usually follows New York pretty quickly in suit. So I can see them following right behind them. So like I said, it's going to be when can we get these guys in there and get them to start building together? Do you think we should pick up anyone? I think we will, JT. I think what you're going to have to wait for is after June 1 when the money for Tremaine comes off. And I also can see them holding on to the money. So what I mean by holding on to the money is kind of waiting until somebody else kind of trickles free, waiting for some other teams to cut down on some players. Because the thing is, you don't want to go out and get somebody and then somebody else comes free that you'd rather have, and now you just kind of wasted some money. The only team that will practice will be the Bills. Even the baseball teams practice in Florida. Yeah, but at this point, Andrew, they'd be practicing in New York. And Florida's open anyway, so they'd be able to practice there. Sorry I'm late. Life happens sometimes. Hey, Todd, you don't have to be sorry, man. You come whenever you can come. I appreciate the support. But, yeah, that's the thing. So the Bills can't practice. So none of the teams can practice. So that's the difference. If you read what they came out with, because at the time they came out with it, 10 teams were not able to get into their facilities. Now I guess at least one more can because the Bills will be able to. I don't know what the full 10 were. But what they said was until every team can get back in their facility, only front office staff can be there. The coaches cannot be in the building. the players cannot be in the building. The only players allowed in the building are players rehabbing injuries. So because they want it to be fair. They don't want it to be unfair. So they're not going to allow teams like the Bills or like the Dolphins or like any of these teams in areas that are opening up to get more time than the teams like the Jets who can't get into their facility right now. So they're doing a great job in that and making sure that every team can get in first before they allow coaches, before they allow players in there. So nobody can practice just yet. It's just a matter of the front office staff kind of getting back in there and getting back into their routine. When did the rookie camps open up? I'm not sure. I don't know if they were. I think they might have happened virtually already. Let me see. Rookie minicamp. NFL. Yeah, I think it happened already, but I think it was virtual. I'm not sure if they'll give them a few extra days maybe to practice once teams are able to practice. And like I said, what I think they should do is, if they can get some mini camps in, great if they can. But I think what they should do is potentially look at letting the teams come in early for training camp, maybe have an extra few weeks at the beginning of training camp. I know it makes training camp longer, but they can strategically play it out, right? They don't have to grind these guys out. They can take a lot of days where they're just taking reps, right? Just learning the playbook type. They don't have to be hitting each other and doing all that crazy stuff that can get them injured. But just getting in there, getting the cohesion, getting down the playbook for a lot of these people. Let them get an extra 2 weeks of practice or so. Our team. Let's give. Thanks, Todd. Todd's always looking out for me, trying to get people to hit that thumbs up. For the most part, everything has been virtual. Yeah, exactly. Everything's been virtual so far. Do you think the NFL season will start up? I absolutely do. I just read something, too, that they said that they're planning to have full stadiums unless the CDC tells them otherwise. I think that's a little advantageous. We'll have to see. I don't even think that many people would show up to fill the stadium because I think a lot of people will be nervous. But we'll see. I think the season will start on time. I really do. It's still quite a ways away. We're not even through May yet. So you got June, July, and then August is when training camps start. September is when the games start. So you still got a few months yet. Who's on Hard Knocks this year? Oh, man. Isn't it 2 teams this year? I think they made it 2 teams this year. Let's see. HBO Series Hard Knocks play in the future. Both of the LA teams, the Rams and the Chargers. Yep, it's 2 teams this year, the Rams and the Chargers. So that'll be interesting to have 2 of them. Are we going to get double the episodes or double the time or just each team's going to be covered half as much? This is a year to start buying season tickets. Going to be a consistent winner every year. Yeah, Stephen, if I was still up there and I had the money, I would. But I'm down here, so I'll catch them when they play the Dolphins. I don't know if I'll go this year. I have 2 boys. You guys obviously seen the older one on one of the recent videos. He's 4.5, and the baby is actually going to be 1 on Saturday. So I think he's going to be a little too young to take it. I mean, yeah, he'll probably be a little too young this year. So maybe next year. And plus with all the coronavirus stuff, my wife will not want them in any public gatherings probably. So, but I definitely want to bring them to a game, let them see. I brought the older one to a Marlins Mets game when we first moved down when he was about 2. So he likes it. He likes to watch some of the sports. I'm going to try to get him into football more this year. But Steven, how many games do you usually attend? The Rams. Yeah, the Rams. I don't know why they're doing the Rams. Rams and Chargers, that kind of seems a little weird. But is YouTube your full-time job? No, absolutely not. I don't even have like 150 subscribers. I don't get paid anything for doing YouTube. So no, absolutely not. This is just something I do for fun, JT. I like to interact with other Jet fans. I got really big into watching a lot of YouTubers, and I thought I can do this, and it seems really fun. So I said, hey, give me something to do. Give me, an avenue to kind of get away from everything else. Um, I was so I first started watching Jet Central, and then I saw him do a piece with the Entertainer, who was obviously a Giants fan. And I really started watching Entertainer a lot, even though he's a Giants fan, and he's always talking about the Giants. He doesn't even talk about the Jets, but I really loved all the content he put out, and I was like, man, I would. And we got some really good Jets YouTubers too, and I was just like, I just wanted to put out some content. I had some good ideas, at least what I thought was some good ideas, and I always feel like I think a little bit differently than some of these other guys out there, um, especially when I was watching the panel. So I was like, let me just do it. I was like, my brother and one of my friends were kind of on me, kept saying, tell me to do it. Because they always said I know all the news like as soon as it comes out, so I might as well. So I gave it a whirl. I had my mom actually create the logo for me, so she had fun doing it. Hope you guys like the logo. I don't know. I never really asked anybody for feedback on it, but give you guys a background on how I came up with the name too, because I don't know I kind of mentioned it in a very, very first few videos. I thought it was a little corny, my little intro that I made, so I got away from it. But NY Sports MC, obviously NY for New York and sports, but the MC is for like an MC at a party. That's why in the first few videos, I said, hey, welcome to NY Sports MC. I will be your MC for today. And MC is also my initials. So like MC, because that's obviously not how you spell MC. So I just thought it was a cool play on it, like where I kind of got my own branding in it a little bit. It's my initials. So that's where that kind of came from. Let's see what else we got. Used to go to all of them in 02, 03, 04. 1 a year now. Yeah, unless you got money to go get like the really, really good seats, it's better to watch it on TV. You get to experience the game better on TV than you do there, even though the experience in the atmosphere is obviously much, much better. But I'm just saying from the view and to be able to see everything that's going on, these camera views are so great now. But me, I usually have to go to the bar now to watch a game because I'm down here in Florida and the games are almost never on TV, except for when we play the Dolphins. So I usually go to the bar with my dad. We'll have some beer and wings and just watch some of the games. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that, man. It's just like I said, it's crazy. The channel hasn't grown as much as I would like over the last week or so. I've been putting out some of the new stuff, and we only got a few new subscribers. And there's been times when you're new and your channel grows slow like it is. It's to be expected, but there's times where you think like, hey, should I even continue doing this or whatnot? But then you guys say things like that all the time, and it makes me, just continue to want to keep doing this just to interact with you guys. NFL package, yeah, NFL package is kind of expensive. I thought about doing it. I usually find some kind of stream that's not very on the up and up, but I like to go to the bar. I hang out with my dad. He's retired now, so he moved down here to Florida as well. So we usually go hang out and watch the game over there. But did I grow up in New York? I was born in New York. I lived most of my life in New Jersey. So where was I just going to go with this? I don't know. If you all share, it would help a lot. I appreciate that, Todd. Todd, you weren't in here before. I don't know if you're on Twitter. It seems like a lot of these people are not. But I just started a Twitter for the channel. It's just at NY Sports MC. So go ahead. If you have a Twitter, go ahead, go on there and follow me on there. I'll be posting links to the videos on there. So then if you have it, you can feel free to share it with your community as well. We're in New Jersey. I'm in the Middlesex counties, right there in central Jersey. So not too far from the stadium. But yeah, like I said, Jets have been a Jets fan my whole life, though. My dad, I followed in the footsteps of my dad, all the teams that have never won anything in my lifetime. Jets, Mets, Knicks, been a struggle. And I'm going to make my son follow my footsteps. You know what they say, misery loves company. Jake is now following me on Twitter. Freehold Township. My aunt and uncle lived in Freehold for a while. They actually live down here with me now. Not with me, but in the same same town that I live in. So yeah, I was in Old Bridge for a little while, Steven. Thanks, JT. If you haven't subscribed to the channel too, I don't know if I've ever seen you in the channel yet. Welcome. So here we go. Let's get a poll. What is the next position group that we're going to do? Comparing, ranking the AFC East. So we did quarterback. We did offensive line. Do we stay on the offensive side of the ball? Do we move over to defense? So on the offense, we got tight end. We got running back. Okay, perfect, JT. So, we got running back. We got tight end, wide receivers. And then we'd have to go on to the other side of the ball. We got everything. Tight ends or running backs. So there's one vote. Anybody else? Special teams. Todd, I will absolutely do special teams at one point because I was a former kicker. Just haven't watched the live stream, so I checked it out. Oh, well, welcome to the live stream, JT. Tight end, please. Okay. So we got a vote. We got 2 votes for tight end, 2 votes for running back. Does anybody want to be the tiebreaker? Tight end should be interesting, I think. Let's see. So tight end actually is one of the position groups that made me do this series. I saw somebody put out a list of how they ranked the tight ends, and I laughed at how horrible it was. So that kind of gave me the idea. All right, it looks like tight end is going to be the position that we go over next. Braden, how's it going? I didn't even see you in here, buddy. Thank you for coming in. So let's see, tight end going to hit them all. So whatever comes first. Yeah, we are going to hit them all. I'll switch with JT switching to help you guys out. So it will be tight end. I'm going to pick one myself like I did too, and try to do 2 of them before next Sunday, and then we'll kind of come back and recap them again. But tight end should be fun. I kind of already have a basis for where I'm going. Oh, hey, at work, there you go. You got to get back to work. Hopefully everybody has off tomorrow, or I actually will be working. What are you going to do? I only have a few appointments, so not a big deal. People wanted to meet and wanted to talk. I do sales. That's the extent of what I can say about what I do. It is a sales-related position, and people wanted to talk tomorrow, so I'm going to talk. So I'll have that tight end up probably middle of the week, Wednesday or so, because then I'll be getting ready for my son's birthday on Saturday. Like I said, we'll be celebrating his first birthday. So, guys, please we're 8 minutes over the hour here. I'm going to go ahead and do you have a schedule of when you stream? So I stream live every Sunday from 9 to about 10. That's at least for right now. As we start to get more people and the channel grows, if we need to do like 2 a week, I could probably do 2 a week. When the season comes, we'll probably change it off Sunday. I just figured Sunday because during the week it's a little too busy right now for me. And then Friday and Saturday night, I figured people want to enjoy Friday and Saturday night. I figured Sunday, everybody's kind of winding down, getting ready for the work week. Figured it's a nice, relaxing way for us to end the weekend and kind of prep for the week of work. It also, like I said, gets my mind off of work for a little while before I got to go into the grind of the whole week again. So that's what I'm doing every Sunday at 9 for now. I know a bunch of people today that said that they have to be late or could not attend. So if there's better time that works for people, I mean, we could always look to potentially move it. I usually have to do it later at night, though, because I do help. Obviously, got to help my wife put the kids at least the one to bed, and then the other one, he kind of roams around sometimes. But that's why I usually a little bit later. I wanted to start at maybe 8 and do 2 hours, but that would just not be fair to her. So that's what we got for now. I'll get that tight end video up by Wednesday or Thursday, so look out for that. And then the position group of my choosing will come probably Sunday again during the day, and then we'll come back with the Sunday night stream. So, guys, have a very, very happy Memorial Day tomorrow. Thank you to any of you in here or any of your family in here that may have served for our country. And let's just keep in mind all those people that did give the ultimate sacrifice to give us the great freedoms that we have here. So love all the support you guys have, man. And as always, jet up.